My name is Evan. Today I'm just here to talk about my fitness journey and what has kept me going. So it started off when I was like really young. I was 12 years old, but before that I had become diabetic, and it was something that I didn't cause. Like, it was no one's fault. Like, it was just a genetic thing. It's a condition that I had developed through my family, and what happened, it carried on to my genes. And then so after that, I ended up getting sick at a very young age. And then so it took a few years for me to kind of just adjust and learn the whole process and how to treat everything. So, before then I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had no idea how to eat, and I wasn't even being physically active, except for when I was in school or and I was doing sports and stuff. But I was never in the gym at that time. And I kept getting sick. And, from ages like 7 to like 11 years old, I was in the hospital like twice a year. And like every 6 months, something would happen, and I would just have a really high blood sugar, or it would go into like ketoacidosis. So I've had experienced that multiple times. So what happened is like, because of my lack of knowledge and my inability to control, and at the time it was a crazy time for my family, because they didn't know how to deal with it either. No one in my family was ever a diabetic. So it was a huge transition for not only myself, but for my family as well, because it affected them to where like they were just trying to deal with it, and they were trying to help me. So I kept getting sick. And then it wasn't until that point when I had went to the doctor, and I will never forget, and he's like, you're young right now, but if you don't take control of this, it's going to be some serious issues down the line, and your long-term health is in huge compromise, and stuff can start getting worse and worse and worse as it goes. So at that point, that's when I realized, shit, I have to take control of this. My family was doing their part too to help and support me, but it was up to me. So from that day moving on, like I was like 11 years old at that time, I started learning how to eat and what kind of foods I need to be eating. I've attended, camps with other diabetics, and where we learn about how to treat it, and we're around other people that are diabetics as well. Not only the campers, but the staff, everyone in that community is a diabetic. So, and then by that time I had turned 12 years old, because it was around the summertime, it was a summer camp. So I stepped into the gym, and I was 12 years old. First time I went was with my parents. So they showed me around, and they were teaching me the equipment and what exercises I need to be doing. First time I ever walked into the gym, it was like I had walked into like a completely different world. I had no idea how any of that stuff worked. I didn't have a clue, nothing. So, but I was eager to learn, because I remember seeing magazines when I was growing up. So, and I wanted to look like the guys in the magazines, like that were ripped up and that had a six-pack and that looked good. So I started going, and along the way, like I started going for like 3 months, and then before that it became 6 months, and then by that time it was 8 months, and I noticed a huge change with my health. And that was the first time that I was not in the hospital. So that was like a record for me, and I was steady and keen on keeping it that way, and just like not only going to the gym, but like I was also, I was going for a run. I had a bike too. I would go ride my bike, and I was just trying to stay active, and I was just being active. and then I was eating good and pretty decent. So then at that point, that's when things just started to get more serious. And I knew from that point on, after a year of training, I wanted more. So from that point on, from improving my health, I wanted to look better. You know, I wasn't, by all means, I was still a skinny kid. You know, I didn't have any muscle tone, but I had a little foundation built, and I was familiar with exercise and staying in shape. And I wanted to keep that going. I wanted to keep that momentum going as much as possible. So I started going every single day, you know, which is not, you know, ideal for someone just starting out. But at that point in my mind, I just had all this dopamine. I had so much motivation. I was just excited. The moment when I woke up out of bed, and from when I went to school to when the bell rung at school, go straight to the gym. And that's exactly what I did, you know, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. And then, you know, it wasn't until like before turning 14, I was 13 at that time, I had my first six pack. And I mean, it wasn't like super solid or like super lean, but I noticed it. Like it was there, and I was making some progress, and I was really happy. So, and then that just carried on to just doing more and wanting more. You know, I competed in sports throughout the years, you know, with soccer, with football. I wrestled in high school, and you know, after high school, like that's when I had that spark to just want to compete as a bodybuilder. And you know, from the first time when I stepped on stage at 18 years old, because I was doing my prep before I graduated high school. And when I stepped on stage for the first time at 18 years old, that's when it hit. I'm like, man, I need to keep this competition going. I want to keep doing this. This is what I love to do. And so, you know, that just kept going, and I started building momentum off of that. So at the end of the day, what I've come to realize is what really kept things going for me was just constantly having new goals, you know, and not to mention taking care of yourself, but like it goes something from doing that, taking care of your health and your body, to looking good, and then to, you know, doing more with it, you know. So that's what I love about fitness is it's a constant evolving progress. There's always something more that you could be doing. And, you know, from when you start, as you make progress along the way, and as you start making your progress, you just see how great it feels. You feel amazing when you notice your first six pack, or when you notice that first vein in your biceps. You notice your shoulders getting a little bit more broad. People start complimenting you too. That's another thing too, is like that's what kept me going, is the compliments that I would receive. And I'm just like, well, thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that, you know. Not that I was seeking validation at all, but I was just like, wow, like if other people notice, then I know I'm doing something right. And I need to continue pushing and keep myself on that track, because that track is giving me more life and giving me more gratification, knowing that I'm set on accomplishing bigger things, not just in the gym, and whether it be competing in sports or bodybuilding, but other things in my life too. And so for that, it's like fitness truly saved my life, you know, from my diabetes to wanting to do more and more with my life. That's how it should be with every fitness journey. No matter what your goal is, you're always gonna be having some kind of motive to start. And there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs. Like, that's how it was for me. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't a straight line. I'm always gonna be faced with adversity. So, and that's how it is with everyone. But the more persistent you are, the more likely you are to become successful. It instills discipline and mental fortitude. So that's something that has really helped me, and I hope that it can help you guys out in your fitness journey as well. I appreciate you guys tuning in and checking this out. And stay tuned for more. Check out my IG at Evan Toth, and I'll catch you guys later.